No. So welcome back to the episode of the Geek Centurions. It's me, your boy Eli.
It's me, Joe. I don't know what that was.
That was a tease of what we're talking about. It's Batman. Well, not the Batman movie. We haven't seen that yet. Schedules again are weird, so we might not be able to watch that. We'll make an episode. Don't worry. If those of you were wondering what our thoughts on that movie, because as a movie we're both excited about. But just to keep with the Batman theme going, we decided to talk about another Batman thing that isn't the movies, because I feel like everyone's said everything they can about the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought we'd talk about good old the Batman the animated series, the original one from the 90s. You know, Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill as our quintessential Joker. In my opinion, I don't know. Some people say John DiMaggio is the best, but I say Mark Hamill.
I mean, I think I'd be on your side with Mark Hamill. I mean, given the fact he's come back to the Joker role in so many different other properties since the original Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, like, when you think of the Joker, like, Mark Hamill's portrayal has often been lauded as, like, one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
If not the best. Like,
yeah. So right now, well, we're not going to be reviewing some episodes. We're just talking about the show in general, the highs, the lows, and just how basically it was like one of the biggest things that ever come out, and still kind of like regarded as one of the best like animated shows that ever come out in the last 20 years, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, because it came out in the 90s, I believe.
And it was really at the high rise of, like, I would say, superior cartoons, because at that time you had some Marvel ones. Probably the best one is the Spider-Man, the X-Men, but with DC, Batman was just it. And for some people, like, okay, that's 2 against 1. I'm like, no, but Batman was the shit. It was like one of the best things to come out of Warner Brothers in terms of like animation.
Yeah, and let's not forget, it did spark sort of like, essentially was the beginning of what would turn out to be sort of DC's little connected universe in terms of the animated series.
Yeah, because after that, because of Bruce Timm, who was the creator of that show.
Yeah, like sort of the Bruce Timm universe, or whatever.
Yeah, he made that show. He also made Superman the Animated Series, which eventually would lead into good old Justice League.
And Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah. And he even made some of the movies, too. Specifically the Batman movies and, like, some of the specials, like, Batman, Superman kind of shit.
Yeah, and then obviously it spun off with Batman Beyond,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So, like, really you can just all tie it to, like, the beginnings of, like, what people consider DC having, like, the best animated stuff. You can, like, label it starting off from there.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, that's where it really, like, start off. And it's surprising that the Batman the Animated Series doesn't start off us with, the origin. It doesn't do the origin, as I recall.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of like... Because you already know the origin, right? Because especially since, like, it's coming off the leaps of the Burton Schumacher films. So you already know.
Yeah, because at least I'm pretty sure the first Batman movie had already come out, because that was in 1989. I'm not. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Batman.
I'm about to correct
the
you.
second one.
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns. I'm not sure if that had come out, because I mean, yeah, because the animated series was like 1990s, like 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm. Batman Returns. Oh well, it's giving me the Batman.
Google Classic. Relevant.
Mm-hmm. Batman Returns came out in 1992. Batman the Animated Series came out in 92.
Okay, yeah. So you're right. Like most general audiences who were aware of Batman more or less now knew his origin from the movies. So yeah, like an animated show would just jump right in the gates, right?
Yeah, because that's kind of what they did with the Spider-Man movie, the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, because I mean, like, we didn't necessarily need to see
Uncle Ben.
Yeah, another Uncle Ben death scene, or Peter getting bit by a radioactive spider thing. I mean, we had all his setup more or less in Civil War, and then that which led the first Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming, to just be sort of just him trying to like be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, you know. But yeah, it's yeah, like so I do find that interesting and sort of like probably the right thing to do for the animated series to just like not do the origin, because given at the time recent cultural osmosis, most people who were into Batman knew, yeah, Batman's parents died in an alley, and that's what inspired him to become Batman. You know. And,
Well, no, I was gonna also say like, yeah, that's true. But also like looking through like the episodes list, right? Just to give myself a quick reminder of like what was there. That we essentially it's the first two episodes are about Catwoman. And it's kind of funny how this Batman movie that's coming out has Catwoman in it,
yeah.
which is pretty funny, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you planned that or what, but yeah, it definitely is a neat thing.
Well, that also I feel like Catwoman, especially in this iteration of the animated series, is probably one of the best ones that we've had. While the comics have a more like, I guess, detail into like their relationship better than anything else. That maybe the film is going to go into more of that than any other like iteration, any other adaptation that's been coming out. Because they were going to get married at some point, but then that turned out not to happen, and that pissed off a lot of fans. I remember that. Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
I don't remember.
Okay, because you weren't there.
But I will bring up probably one of the best episodes, and it's I think one of the episodes that like, because I think what the Batman the animated series would do sometimes with some of the villains rogues gallery is like they would update them a bit.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Yeah, and I think the biggest one, at least the one I can remember most off the top of my head, is Mr. Freeze.
Oh, dude, so like, yeah, because like Mr. Freeze was kind of like a joke, right?
Yeah.
But then the animated series is the one that established, and this isn't the first time they did this, right? They established stuff that would later be used in comics and every other form of media. It's the idea of like that he is a tragic soul.
Yeah, like his wife had this illness and he wanted to save her, and then through circumstances it eventually turned him into Mr. Freeze. You know,
And it's tragic.
It's such a good revamping of the character. Like they use that in Batman and Robin with when they had Mr. Freeze. Granted, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to pull that performance, which is not as dramatic. It's kind of silly, in fact. But I mean, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
When he has a chance to be emotional, he can do it. But most of the time, he has really silly lines like
"What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. Chill out." Just a lot of ice puns.
I mean, you can go for it, dude. I'm gonna let you go. I know.
I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. The only one I remember is the "What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age." That's the only one I can remember off the top of my head. If I can think of more,
Well, yeah. No, go ahead. I'm not gonna stop you because that's the only reason I really like that movie. I like that movie. But aside from that, I'm like I said, Mr. Freeze. The story with him was established in the show, and it was so good that they started using it in the comics. Like I have one of the books I have in my in over there in my books whatever is has a story point where Mr. Freeze kind of finds the cure. He finally finds the cure and he's lives happy. Heck, there was even a story back in the day recently where he finally finds a cure for Nora, and so they sort of become a Bonnie and Clyde, which is all right, I guess that's cool. Oh, comics. But but another character that really spun out of, and a lot of people tend to be surprised when I tell them no, they always ask me okay, where's the origin of this one character? I'm like, well, technically the origin is in the show, Harley Quinn.
Yeah, that's another one.
That she started off would be the one of the most important characters of DC, like more like you have Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and then like if you were to add a fourth one somehow, if it wasn't a Justice League member, it would be Harley Quinn, because the marketability of that character is just so crazy right now.
Yeah, it's really sort of exploded in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that is something that the anime series did, because originally Harley was just a female henchman for Joker in the show, but then they really started liking the dynamic they had with her on the show, right?
Yeah,
And then they propelled her to be like a mainstay, and obviously,
and her story is fucking dark, dude.
yeah, obviously her story, being sort of convinced by the Joker.
Sort of like romanticized.
Yeah, like, because he essentially sort of more or less gives her some spiels about being abused and stuff.
It's like, oh,
She was like a therapist at Arkham, and
yeah,
the Joker manipulated her into like pretty much becoming his henchman, and obviously the show doesn't go like fully in depth because it's still a kids show, but there's a lot of abuse going on.
holy shit, dude! There's like an episode. I can't. What was the name of the episode? It was like there was an episode, and it was in the later version, right? In the new animated series.
Yeah,
Which is like a continue. Is it still part of this?
it's just a new art style.
New art style, different direction, kind of shit. And like, there's an episode, and it's hard not to talk about that episode because it's like the most. It's the one that established my thoughts on how the Joker would be in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for one, it proves that Harley is like just as smart, if not smarter, than the Joker, because like she captures Batman, has him tied up, literally is like seconds away to winning, but Joker's like, "You bitch, you ruined it."
Yeah,
Like there's a thing going here.
we had a certain rhythm going on here, and now you just blew it up. I know the episode you're talking about because it does. I think that's the episode that mainly delves into a bit of her origin.
Yeah.
And there is like a scene where he just pushes her out of the building.
No. He hits her, dude. Don't you remember?
Yeah.
Like, we don't see the slap, but we see Batman's reactions like, ooh, that's not good. Like, I don't want to see that, dude.
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, he knocks her off into off a building, and I think it was like a 2-story building. Like
out the window.
Yeah, out the window, and like the whole point was like if you had like because Joker's like all about the jokes, right?
Yeah.
And like Harley didn't really think about it. She's like, I'm just gonna capture the Batman because like that's what I need. He's like, no, but it has to be funny. I'm the Joker. That's my shtick.
Yeah.
And like he got angry because like I'm pretty sure he'll still get angry with her, but like it wouldn't have been as bad.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that abuse of any form isn't bad.
Yeah, no.
But like that was like a real like whoa that went there. Like as a kid you didn't think about it, but now growing up is someone should call for domestic violence.
Well, they're villains, so like
They should be always called.
I mean, they're already doing bad things. Domestic violence is like probably the tip of the iceberg compared to all the shit Joker's done to Gotham,
Yeah.
So,
and not even that. It's also kind of like there's also that other episode of Harley where like she has a moment to maybe even kill the Joker, but she's too much in love with him, which is kind of like really fucked up when you think about it.
Yeah. It's definitely sort of the hallmark of a very abused relationship, right? And I do remember there was just one episode, right, where like Harley actually does get to live a bit of a normal life.
Yeah, but she still has the cookiness in there, and that's the episode I'm talking about.
Yeah,
because like she goes out with Bruce.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh no, you sweet child. You try, but one thing that I will always say about the Batman anime series, it really like delved into like the character of Bruce and Batman. Because like I remember there was that one episode, and do you remember this one episode? It's where I think it was a dream where Bruce has a happy life,
and there's someone else being Batman.
Yes,
right?
yes, that was like such an interesting like episode because it's like what is my purpose? What?
Yeah, because Bruce clearly knows like, wait a minute, this isn't right.
Yeah. I'm Batman.
Yeah, and it's all like a huge dream thing, but it also is sort of like it's very similar to I guess
Mm.
because I know they did this in the Justice League show, but I know it's also based off of a comic book.
For the Man Who Had Everything, the Superman book,
Yeah,
the
that
Alan
one.
Moore book. Yeah, no, that was a great episode, and that was a great book.
That's what it reminded me of, essentially.
Yeah, like what it would be like if you had your family, like no, oh no, you have to be Batman. Like there's a reason why you are Batman,
Yeah.
and that kind of shit. And it's such a good episode. And like if I were to talk about another episode real quick, it would. No. See, this is what happens when you talk about Batman the Animated Series. You start talking about all the great episodes, and like because like there was this one, and like again, looking at it now, it's a really kind of like almost mature writing of it. It was that little girl who was actually an adult but had that disease where she
Looks young.
yes,
Yes.
and how like tragic that is.
Yeah, and she's sort of the villain of that episode, and yeah, it doesn't even end with like a big like climax or a fight. It just sort of just,
She's just like sad and angry.
yeah, like she sort of just realizes that all the stuff she's done is like, you know, all bad, and like Batman is very sympathetic towards her. It's not even like a
Well, this is an interesting shot. Like we all know, like this is like it's art and cartoons, and like some level of realism tends to be broken. This is a scene where like she's like shooting the like it was like a fun house.
yeah
Mirrors.
Funhouse of Mirrors. Yeah,
She's like shooting everything, and there's like an image of her like how she would have looked like if she was an adult.
if she actually looked her age.
How she feels like she looks like in the inside,
Yeah.
right? And then like she shoots it, and then it's just like, and, like there's no more bullets, and Batman's behind her, and he's like, I don't think he says anything, but he basically says like, it's gonna be okay, and he's just like, he just hugs him, and
Yeah,
starts crying. It's like, oh shit, that's like pretty fucking dark.
yeah, like that's sort of the interesting thing about the Batman. Sometimes it does have those emotional moments. Again, probably just another episode off the top of my mind that like that I always thought was pretty cool in a meta sense was the Gray Ghost episode.
Oh shit, you're right. Oh, and see, yeah, that was
Because
an interesting episode.
yeah, because the idea is that there's a villain like going around doing stuff, and it reminds Batman of this old show he watched as a kid, The Gray Ghost, which is basically and he goes to talk to the actor who played the Gray Ghost, who's voiced by Adam West, and you realize that this whole episode essentially is sort of like the creators being like, because at the time,
Yeah.
people did not like the Adam West 1960s Batman because it was too campy.
Well, they didn't like it because it was the thing that most people would associate Batman with, right?
Yeah,
Because like the Adam West Batman show wasn't like terrible or anything. It was just super campy and of the time, right?
Yeah.
Because like that's what you would have. Like a lot of shows at the time were that. Mm-hmm. There's nothing inherently bad, but when your Batman is doing like the little dance and the eye thing, and well, chum, I believe that solves the problem, and then that kind of speak.
and all the boom, pow, wow sound like effects on the screen.
Or like, egads, Batman. That's or some shit like that.
Yeah, like it was everything that people made fun of Batman, and I think comic book fans were like, but no, the actual Batman in the comics, he's cool and stuff. He's not like that guy.
I mean, he kind of is though.
Screw that guy,
Yeah, but it was also such a nice like way of honoring that.
Yeah, because that whole episode is sort of like basically, like Bruce is like looks up to him and stuff, and even like the guy gets involved in some ways with doing the Batman stuff with who dresses up as the Grey Ghost, and Batman even has like a little shrine to the Grey Ghost in his Batcave, which in hindsight kind of weird, but at the same time the Grey Ghost is like, you inspired me, to be who I was, you know, and stuff, and he's like, so it wasn't for nothing,
Yeah, it's kind of like touching.
Yeah,
it's almost like someone said Adam, you inspired like a lot of us Batman fans.
It's like, hey, listen, like you in the Batman 1960s show, pretty much, help people know who Batman was. Even if it's not like the version that some people liked, it pushed people to know, hey, this is Batman. We know who Batman is. It let people in like sort of the casual audience to know that who Batman
It
is.
made him mainstream.
Exactly. Yeah, he made him mainstream.
And I think that Adam West Batman was also the one that had the first, from my understanding, probably the first live action movie.
Technically, well, I mean, there's probably some 1940 serials.
Well, yeah,
but you wouldn't really consider them like
yeah.
official like feature length.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, come on, it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know a lot nowadays. People sort of retroactively sort of like the 1960s Batman show and the movie.
Yeah.
Like more or less just because we've been through, and I don't know if we're gonna ever make this a topic. I don't think we will.
Not time soon. Never say the no. It's on the topic.
Yeah, but basically, obviously, there's been like a huge trend ever since like probably the late 2000s to mid 2010s of just dark, angsty movies that are trying to be gritty and realistic and stuff. You know what I mean? So, especially when it came to like Nolan's Batman movies. Not to say that makes them bad.
No, they're like they're the standard.
Yeah, like they are the standard for making a superhero gritty and realistic.
Mm.
But there's definitely like a case to be argued that like there's definitely some films coming out at the times that we just kind of went too far and just like, well, where's the fun in all of this? And it caused people to sort of like retroactively look at the 1960s Batman show and be like, I kind of miss this kind of stuff where we could be campy, where we could have fun, and not everything has to be dark and sour.
It's funny that you just say that, and I know we're kind of going off topic a bit, but because we're tying it back to what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I've seen some early like reviews for Matt Reeves' Batman, the one that's coming out in a couple days.
Yes.
That some people were like, it's too dark and gloomy. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
I mean, that's bad, Yeah, I mean, the thing is that, that is sort of Batman in a sense. He's always been sort of the dark and gloomy character.
But him himself isn't too dark and gloomy,
Yeah, like, he gets into, like, those kind of scenarios and stuff, but at the same time, it's like, you can write Batman in sort of a fun, campy, goofy way, like the 1960s, and even, like, there was a Brave and the Bold, that show.
Fuck, that show was good.
Yeah, which sort of leans into that campiness.
It introduced a lot of people to Jaime Reyes, and I will always respect them for that.
Yeah, Blue Beetle, yeah, absolutely.
Fuck
yeah. And then obviously you swing the other way. Like the Batman the Animated Series is kind of dark for a kid's show. Like super like,
dude, a lot of muted colors. There's like a lot of like dark and gray, like almost like dark, like I mean like a lot of like earthy sort of browns and grays kind of color palette.
Yeah,
like Bruce is like there's always like, he's always in this sort of like dark, like lit room, like not like dark in like a brooding sense, but it's more like so like the room we're in right now is white, right?
Yes.
And if this isn't that series, it'd be more of a brownish tone.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by like earthy, sort of dark tones.
Yeah.
It wasn't like dark and brooding, but you felt like it was like a little like not seedy, but you know what I'm going with, right?
Yeah. It's very like they went like sort of like a very film noir kind of thing.
Yes, that is what I'm going with. Yes.
Yeah.
Especially if you look at the designs of like the backgrounds and like now you make me go for the whole fucking art side. But like that's kind of what I'm going with, right? It's like it's dark, but in a way that's like also palatable,
right?
Because like, I mean, look at the intro, which is like half of it's like Batman's like you barely see him; he's just in shadow.
Yeah, and he's chasing criminals and stuff, and obviously the iconic shot at the end where you see he's in he's in the shadows. Lightning strikes and you get like,
which is very like The Dark Knight Returns kind of esque.
Yeah,
which is such a classic book, and like that's how you know it's like one, it's gonna be a dark show, but there's also some lighthearted moments.
I mean, yeah, like obviously, like there definitely is lighthearted moments.
Fucking Bruce Wayne is like jokes. He makes fun.
Yeah,
he laughs.
Yeah,
he's smiling. Behind a bit, that's his mask because he's really a brooding kid.
Yeah, it's the animated series just definitely has a lot of like. Yeah, it can be dark, but it also can have its light moments, and I think that's what makes it all balanced well out. And Yeah, I do think it is interesting that some people are saying that the new Batman movie is a bit too dark. Because I don't know, yeah, it is like that's a funny comment to make because for so long, people were fine with Batman being the dark and gloomy sort of series to have that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think what other episodes we can talk about because at the end of the day, the Batman animated series just really has it's called
A plethora of like good episodes.
it's had a lasting impact not just on like other animated shows, but like on comics and
Yeah.
because
Like it's if you really think about it, if it wasn't for Batman the animated series, we wouldn't gotten like both the X-Men and the Spider-Man animated series, which I was thinking about doing, but I was like, you know what, Batman's coming out, let's do Batman first.
yeah,
Because like if you look at something like Spider-Man the animated series, which is like for me like one of the top two, like if there's like two animated Spider-Man shows that I always recommend people to watch: Spectacular Spider-Man and this one. Mostly because the '90s one was like the most comic accurate in terms of like plot.
yeah,
Even though some of the animations is a little.
yeah, it's a little.
I mean, the voice acting is also kind of fun.
I mean, it can get a little bit hammy and overacting. Yeah.
Shocker! You can't run from me. I will chase you down to the ends of the earth.
Hey, listen, Peter in the black suit, he goes a little crazy. At least he wasn't like just doing a Saturday Night Fever strut down the streets.
Yeah, that's a reference.
Yeah, I mean that's Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
But anyways, but yeah, no, and like it sometimes that show can get a little dark, and like not dark like Batman dark, but like oh.
Yeah, it has its moments where
because that one was super censored.
Yeah. I mean, the Punisher was in that show, and he fired lasers. And
every
stuff.
gun was a laser.
Yeah, every gun was a laser. Pew pew pew. Because you can't have real guns on a kid's show.
You know the Morbius thing, right? Like he's supposed to like suck blood, but they're like, that's too violent. And they're like, okay, we're gonna give him like little puncture hands to suck the plasma out.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's even worse.
Yeah, and I definitely credit that show to being the show where I knew about Morbius. So I was like, maybe I don't know. Maybe that show is half the reason why I just don't like the character. The other half is just it just doesn't make sense within Spider-Man's rogue gallery. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
he makes more sense for a freaking Blade, and
then X-Men they got the whole allegory thing going. But like Batman the animated series was the one where like, damn, this shit can get dark. Mm-hmm. And like it was also the introduction of like the other Robins and the Batgirls and all basically his like expanded gallery.
Yeah,
like we had Robin and he was kind of like but then like later he left and became Nightwing and I was like, oh
yeah,
oh shit.
And yeah, you had the Tim Drake Robin.
Yeah, and then you had Barbara Gordon, the Batgirl.
Yeah,
and like I'll never forget like because there was an episode, I forget what episode it was, but it's like the reason why Nightwing left, and it's like, Bruce, you're an asshole. I don't want to work with you. And he punches him like, damn, okay, that's tough. And then like Tim Drake is around and everyone kind of likes Tim Drake more because he's awesome. And yeah, what else can we talk about this awesome show?
I don't know. Like I think we definitely talked about again some of the good episodes and some of the other stuff.
Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh right, they did have it. Yeah, it did have its own movie.
And it was like the kind of pseudo origin of Batman, but it's also like the introduction of like a character that is I guess his true love in a sense, but like I don't know, depends on how deep in the comics you want to go into because I don't think it's a character that shows up in the comics unless because I know this character showed up in Tom King's Batman Catwoman run. But anyways, it's like Phantasm, this ghostly character who does show up later in Justice League in the future, and essentially it's this whole like sort of lost love of Bruce and sort of the origin of how he became like Batman, and it's so goddamn cool at the same time because it's like because I remember there's a moment where like he first tries on like the bat suit and Alfred's like, "Oh my god!" Like Alfred's scared shitless. like holy shit! That's I mean that's kind of the whole idea of the bat suit, right? Like, he's supposed to strike fear in his enemies, and it's like one of the best films and like one of the best Joker movies too.
I forgot the Joker is in that movie.
Yeah, he has like I recommend everyone to go see that movie. It's really good, especially in the wake of the Batman coming out soon. But yeah, I think that's about like most that we can do. I mean, this is always going to be a short episode, so I'm not really upset about the runtime.
Yeah, I mean, it is more or less us sort of talking about a cool animated show leading up to probably the first big superhero movie of the year.
It is the first. What was before this?
I mean, we had Spider-Man No Way Home back in December.
Yeah.
And
that was it.
Yeah, I mean, we hadn't had any sort of, I guess, comic related.
Here's the thing: do you think it's gonna be? I don't like to make the comparisons, but I feel like I have to do this just to ask for content wise. I'm just gonna say that now. You think it's gonna be better than No Way Home?
The Batman?
Yeah. Okay, let's scratch that. You think it's gonna be better than The Dark Knight?
Okay. I don't know. That's an interesting one.
Mm-hmm. Because that's such a high bar to beat.
Yeah.
Because I'll say this, it's doing stuff with characters that I'm really excited about, like the Riddler. Riddler is a hard character to write. Because like you have to make the riddles make sense. You got to write smart, but half the time you don't have people who are smart enough to make stuff like that.
Yeah, you want to try to have like a compelling mystery. Whenever the Riddler's involved, and you don't want to make it too simple. You also don't want to make it too complicated that not even the audience can understand.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which I mean, can I say that the basing it off like the Zodiac Killer makes a lot of sense because that was a Riddler.
Yeah. He did have his own little codes that people have had to decipher.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
that could work.
Yeah.
And who knows? Supposedly they want to do more. They say they might want to do the Court of Owls. If we do Court of Owls, that'd be fucking badass. We haven't seen that in the movie. But yeah, no, it was always meant to be a short episode. And if you guys haven't checked out Batman the Animated Series, I can say, what's wrong with you? Go check it out right now. It's like on HBO Max, and it's so good, so good. It still holds up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not all of it.
Probably not all of it.
Yeah, and some didn't age well. But anyways, if you enjoy what you've listened to, we are on social media. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the Geek Centurions. And if you go on Instagram, where we're the most active, you will find a link tree to all the podcast sites that we are officially a part of, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, all the like. And a link to the YouTube for all you audio listeners out there who want to put a face to the voice. That's where you'll find us. Like, comment, subscribe. You know how it is. And be sure to support us in any form or way in Patreon. We also like to do a lot of stuff, but we need that support. Anyways, guys, that's about it. Yeah, Batman. It's going to be a Batman 2. It's going to be 2 weeks of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. It's going to be fun. It's a good... When is Moon Knight coming out?
It's the end of the month now. It's March.
And I think a week before that should be... A week or two before that should be Halo.
Oh, right, yeah.
We're going to have to talk about that, Joey.
Probably, yeah.
We'll find a way.
We'll find a way.
Anyways, guys, have a good one. It's been me, your boy, Eli.
It's been me, Joe.
You guys have a good one. Peace.